Oh, so you can't afford to buy me a present for Christmas this year?
I'm beginning to wish that I had rare voice, just because I'm tired of spending more than I should and getting less than I could. It's cheaper than my other phone for sure. I'm beginning to wish that I had rare voice. It's the very best choice. And the happiest thing I'll see are the features that are free. That's why I've got Rare Voice.
Isn't it time you upgrade your home phone? Sign up for RevVoice today, and you can win great weekly prizes and a brand new Honda CR-V from Nassau Motor Company. Get RevVoice home phone for as low as $14.99 a month. Rejoice this Christmas with RevVoice.
Good evening, Bahamas. I'm Christina McNeil, and this is NB12 for Wednesday, December 5th, 2012, broadcasting from the Cable South Studios on Robinson Road. In news tonight, the Prime Minister's decision to keep National Insurance Board Chairman Gregory Moss in his post while an audit is conducted is drawing criticism from the leaders of two political parties. Final farewells made to Bahamian sports legend Thomas A. Robinson, non-faculty staff at the College of the Bahamas on work to rule, and changing the learning experience for deaf students. We have those stories and much more coming up tonight. Your MB12 starts right now. Leaders of both the Free National Movement and Democratic National Alliance are slamming the government over its handling of the controversy surrounding National Insurance Board Chairman Greg Moss. Dr. Hubert Minnis and Granville McCartney questioned the decision to place NIB Director Algernon Cargill on leave, but not to do the same with Moss after serious allegations were made against him. Meantime, the F&M leader suggested that the opposition be involved in the process to ensure that an audit of NIB's books is in fact independent. Vonique Toot reports.
Prime Minister Perry Christie has come under heavy fire following his decision to allow NIB Chairman Gregory Moss to remain in that top post, even as officials conduct an audit into NIB's accounts. Mr. Christie said yesterday he would not ask Moss to resign or allow him to be placed on leave over allegations contained in a lawsuit filed against him by NIB Director Algernon Cargill. Free National Movement leader Dr. Hubert Minnis says he thinks that's a bad decision.
Cargill, who's a part of the private sector per se, or corporation, is placed on administrative leave. Moss, on the other hand, is not. Why? Because he's a politician? We cannot be treating politicians different from the norm. If an investigation is going on in a department with respect to a particular individual, that individual is either placed on leave while the investigation going on. In the case of Greg, Mr. Moss, he should be asked to resign, and pending the outcome of the investigation, treat it normally.
Leader of the Democratic National Alliance, Granville McCartney, agrees. He says it is wrong to suspend Cargill pending the outcome of an independent audit while Moss remains on the job. He feels this is reminiscent of the previous Christie administration.
In 2007, the PLP government they lost the election. And they lost the election primarily because it was a scandal-ridden government. 5 years later, the Bahamian people decided to put them back in. So, you cannot be surprised by the actions of this particular administration because the Bahamian people allowed them to come back in. The boys are back. and the boys are back with a vengeance.
In an affidavit filed in support of his lawsuit against Moss and NIB, Cargill detailed the chairman's alleged spending habits through the use of a corporate credit card, which the minister responsible for NIB reportedly did not know he had. Cargill also alleges that Moss instructed NIB to provide a $15,000 guarantee, committing it to help cover the cost of heart surgery for a Grand Bahama resident. Such a guarantee allegedly breached the National Insurance Act and regulations. After meeting with Moss and Minister of Labor and National Insurance Shane Gibson on Monday, the Prime Minister said he left satisfied that the government has handled this controversy correctly thus far. McCartney says he finds that claim laughable and unfortunate. Dr. Minnis wants the opposition to be involved in this process to ensure that the audit is actually independent. However, the DNA leader feels an ombudsman should be appointed to investigate a serious matter like this one.
We must move into transparency and accountability where true independence. As a matter of fact, it would be nice for the opposition to even have a look at who comprises the team to ensure transparency and independence.
The Office of the Ombudsman. The Office of the Ombudsman is a real watchdog on the government. And it seems as if when governments come into power, that they could do and say anything and forget that they work for the people. Well, the Office of the Ombudsman will ensure that they remember that they work for the people.
The investigation is expected to wrap up this month and its findings will be made public. Reporting for NB12, I'm Vonique Tude.
Sports legend Thomas A. Robinson laid to rest today following a state-recognized funeral at Christ Church Cathedral. Nikia DeVoe sat in on the service and filed this report.
It was an emotional ceremony this morning as family, friends, and dignitaries paid their final respects to the legendary Thomas A. Robinson. World-famous athletes, government officials, members of the opposition, and other dignitaries arrived at the cathedral before 11 this morning to take their places among the family and many friends of the late track icon. The church was filled to capacity with mourners, and spectators lined up outside for the arrival of Robinson's body, which was escorted to the church in grand fashion.
Color party, eye the center, slow march.
The smell of incense filled the cathedral as Robinson's casket was carried into the church by officers and placed next to his family. Family members read scriptures from Solomon and Timothy, which reminded the congregation that the souls are the righteous in the hand of God and they are at peace, and that their loved one fought the good fight, finished the race, and kept the faith. Family members tried to compose themselves during the service, but tears flowed freely as Robinson's son and daughter Cyril and Erica gave the church a glimpse of the life of the man they called Daddy and Papa. They said he loved the country, his sport, and his children and grandchildren. They said overseeing the construction of the stadium gave him life after he was diagnosed with cancer for a second time.
We have already been blessed in more ways than we can describe. We have been nurtured, raised, educated, and guided by a remarkable man whom we call our Father. While many marvel at his extraordinary accomplishments on the track, and rightfully so, he has surpassed all of those achievements as a father by leaps and bounds.
My daughter, Haley, asked me if I knew what was going to happen to Papa. I said, what do you mean, baby? She said, when Papa's put in the ground, the angels are going to come up and lift his hands and take him in up. Baby, Papa's going to be looking down on us. All for government.
The congregation, including Governor General Sir Arthur Folkes and his wife and Prime Minister Perry Christie and Lady Christie, sang hymns that encouraged loved ones to be strong in the Lord and to be guided by the great Redeemer.
Be strong, be strong, be strong.
Prime Minister Perry Christie took to the pulpit and spoke fondly of the man he called a close friend. He said although Thomas A. Robinson has left this world, he will live on as a pioneer and a trailblazer.
Tommy was, and is, and shall forever remain all of those things and more. His fame and his name are deeply and currently embroidered into the tapestry of our nation's proudest history. He was one of the greats. His legacy looms larger than his own life. His place in the annals of the Haitian history is secure.
Venerable G. Kingsley Knowles said Robinson's dedication on and off the track moved him to deliver a sermon using words from the book of Hebrews. Robinson was buried in the Robinson plot at the Eastern Cemetery. At the back of the funeral booklet, Robinson reminds all those who loved him that love lives on beyond goodbye. Reporting for NB12, I'm Nakia DeVoe.
In other news, scores of College of the Bahamas non-faculty staff gathered outside the campus grounds today, seeking to conclude industrial agreement negotiations and receive payments. Celeste Nixon has the details in this report.
Pending the outcome of industrial agreement negotiations between executives of the Bahamas Public Service Union, COB officials, and the government, the union is also negotiating salary increments and signing bonus amounts, which is provided to employees once per industrial agreement. The last was given in 2007.
Representing some 400 COB non-faculty staff members, Bahamas Public Service Union President John Pinder said union members will accept a lump sum payment of no less than $2,000 per person.
The industrial agreement has expired since 2009. We have accomplished in the last industrial agreement two lump sum payments of equivalent to $1,000 in two different installments. One was paid at the beginning of the industrial agreement, and then the other one was paid some months later, which totaled $2,000. We are asking for $2,500 this time. They did not respond, except for a lump sum payment equivalent to $2,500. They have responded in some letter we just got this morning that is dated the 8th of October.
Pinder said in the letter dated the 8th of October, COB President Dr. Betsy Bowes made a financial offer of $146,000 to members of the bargaining unit, working out to a signing bonus of $500 per person. However, Pinder said there must have been some miscommunication between the COB president and the COB council, as the union has already been in previous negotiations regarding a higher sum. According to Pinder, COB Council Chairman Alfred Sayers communicated to the union that he was awaiting a final position on the matter from State Minister for Finance Michael Halkitis. The union president said he has every confidence Sayers will do all he can to get a better deal.
And certainly there's the culture in the industrial agreement. We don't degress, we progress. And so if we got two last time, we look for at least 25 this time, or at least match us. But presently we are on way to rule, which means we're not going beyond the college to do anything to accommodate the college. If they are not making any sense, there's several steps we can take. But the official protocol speaks to you having a strike vote done to determine whether you're going to strike or not. I don't think they want us to have to do that, and so I'm hoping that they're wise enough to do the right thing and make the right choices in this regard.
Speaking with NB12, Sayers says as of right now, COB does not have the budget to settle outstanding increments and signing bonuses for union members. Sayers said he is waiting on approval from the government to include a supplementary appropriation in the budget that will facilitate these outstanding amounts. Reporting for NB12, I'm Celeste Nixon.